Hello. Welcome to Sincerely Speaking. This week, I am so excited to have my friend Beata here with me. I won't even try to pronounce her last names because I will butcher them, but she will tell you what they are. But Beata is a life and leadership coach. We met a few weeks ago through a common mastermind that we have, and we hit it off right away. She is so intuitive, so amazing, and she works in a lot of the same things that I share with you guys. So I know that this conversation will resonate with you and will help you take your leadership to the next level. So I am really excited to see where this conversation goes. Beata, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Marcy, for having me here. I'm really honored to speak to you and to your audience.
We are so excited, at least I am, and I know my audience will be thrilled once we have this conversation and they get all the value that we're about to share with them. So Beata, I always like when I have guests over, I always like to ask them how they got into the line of work that they do. We all have different journeys that lead us to wherever we are, but I think we can always learn so much from hearing another person's journey and how they discovered their area of passion and of value. So if you could share with us how you got started in this business, that would be an awesome way to start, I think.
Are you sure that we have that much time? Well, thank you so much. How did I get to this business? Through life. My personal experience took me first on turns and curves, and I felt at some point that, well, I cannot help myself. It's very hard to see sometimes from the inside of the box. But let me give you a little bit background, because I'm sure like every audience, like, oh my gosh, but where her accent comes from? So maybe your audience is similar and gonna ask you that question. So I'm Polish born, American made. I came to US 11 years ago, and it was blessing and curse at the same time, because I had to adjust to new culture, to new workplaces, work power dynamics, everything. You would think that we all around the world live kind of similar, or the work is similar, but it's not true. And especially the way we think is not similar. So I had a lot of challenges in adjusting. It was just me. I had no family. The friends that I met before, everyone moved. And so I was like lonely, and everyone probably knows how it is when you have when you go through change, planned or not planned change. And at first I was kind of scared, and like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I'm not sure. I cried to my mom on the phone, like, Mom, maybe I should go home. But deep down, I knew that it was my choice. So put your bigger pants on and toughen up, girl, again, as I had too many times before. So it's what I did. I decided to hire the coach. I met my husband my current husband, but at that time just man, and we also started. So everything was coming at me, and so many of you might feel the same, that life, business, if you're an entrepreneur, so hello, how many challenges is there? So if you are one of them, sometimes you feel like life is coming at you, and I felt at that time. And I'm still very ambitious. I don't know why, but in Polish culture back in the time, it was not so good when you were saying. So I still have this pattern in me that when I have to think twice when I say ambitious, is it good or bad? It's good, because when you are ambitious and healthy ambition, it will take you places, because you won't quit, you won't give up on yourself. You can quit on others if it's not serving you. You can quit on jobs that are not serving you. You can quit on toxic bosses, but do never quit on yourself. And it's what I had to do. I many times was thinking about quitting, but then I remember, who do you want to quit on? Do you want to quit on something that is not working for you anymore? Or are you quitting on your dream and yourself? And that question was driving me through all my curves and challenges. And I met bosses, I call them bosses, that were not so nice to me. I was working for a very long time in hospitality, customer service. So you are constantly exposed to conversations with people, and people are happy and not happy. And when they are not happy, they're gonna throw this on you, especially when you are in customer service. So they throw their frustrations often at me, saying like stuff like, you go back to where you come from. Is there someone who really speaks English? And at that time, it was hard and painful. And I was really scared. Maybe I don't belong here. Maybe I should quit on myself. Maybe I should go to Poland. All these, stories that we create in our mind. But then again, I hired the coaches. I followed the mentors. And they showed me that the only opinion that matters and the story that matters is in me. I have to start leading myself. Doesn't matter if I have the position, if I have the name. Every morning when I wake up, they said, go to the mirror and ask who is leading that person. And can you point someone else? You are lying to yourself, because you are leading yourself. And if it's someone else, you are living someone else's story. So basically it was the quick snapshot of what I really, of my life and how I got into this business. One day I decided, this place, this bosses, this leadership is not serving me anymore. And I'm gonna do it my way and help people in the way that effective leaders, modern leaders, powerful leaders, in a good way, because power can be good and can be bad. Depends how you want to use it. So
yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh,
there's up here.
There's so much to unpack in your story. I've been writing down like a few little words that I don't want to forget. So, thing to start with is this idea of change, right? Of making the decision to change. And we'll talk more about decision particularly in a minute. But so many people are terrified of change. Like some people, it seems like people tend to be at the extremes, right? They either love and embrace change, or they are terrified of change. And a lot of the people listening might be thinking, oh, that's easy for you to say, you just change, wonderful. But if they are at that part of the segment where they're terrified of change, what do you think would be the most productive and positive way to start shifting the way they look at change?
Well, maybe when I will say what I'm gonna say, might sound simple and might sound, well, I'm not sure, but it's true. It's what we all were. And come on, I'm Polish. I still have this accent. Some people saying broken English. Okay, my English can be broken, but I am not broken, because it was my decision. And you mentioned decision. You have to make a decision when what is it, the business or life? It doesn't matter. We are terrified. We are terrified of the unknown the most. So when you are in that position, and when I was in that position, I learned that I had to ask. My questions are my favorite tools always. I had to ask myself if staying where I am is enough scary, or than the unknown that I want to step into. And if the thought of staying where I am was terrifying, and you can feel it in your body, or in me, in my stomach, everything is like intense. It's like discomfort inside. It's like, oh no, this is the sign for me that I have to do it with the fear it and do it. Fear and growth go hand in hand. If you don't do it, what you feel in your heart that you should be doing, and stay where you are, you're going to find yourself in the same position in a week, in a year, in 10 years, and then think, what is more scary? Making that step into unknown and see what happens. But usually, I promise you, there is something better than what you have where you are right now, always.
Absolutely. I was listening to you talk, and I was reminded of this story I heard a while ago of this guy who went to visit this older gentleman, and the gentleman was sitting on a porch with a dog next to him, and the dog was whining and whimpering and whining and whimpering. And the guy asked the old man, why is the dog whining? And the old man said, he's sitting on a nail. And then the guy was like, well, why doesn't he move? And the old man said, it must not be bothering him enough, right? So it's this idea of, are you going to keep sitting on the nail that's bugging you, just whining and complaining, or are you going to move, right? So when the discomfort is worse than the thought of moving, that's when you make a choice, right?
Absolutely. It's a decision. You have to move or stay where you are, and what is more scary. Even moving from Poland, for me, I was excited because, right, we make decisions or stay in discomfort based on our past experiences and the story that we created about them. And I had that before I came and started living permanently in US. I was a student. I had a great time, and I didn't even think about the challenges that are ahead of me. But I know that it's not enough time. But my main reason why I moved, it was discomfort that I had in Poland. My long-time relationship, 11 years, just before I was ready to marry that man, ended. And the discomfort and pain of that was so big that I had to do something. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to United States. That was less scary than staying there with family and friends, just knowing that my relation ended. So sometimes the reasons are crazy, silly, or you were like, really, that's why you moved. But yes, it was my reason to move far away from pain. But I just started new life, new pain. It's life. It's it's what we go through, cycles like that. And then what you're gonna do with it, the decision about the change is the most important.
Absolutely. Now let's dive right into decision making, right? Because what I find is hardest about making decisions, and you correct me if you think something different, right? But is this idea of FOMO, right? What if I miss out on something? What if I make the wrong decision? How can we keep that fear of missing out or of making the wrong decision? How can we stop that from paralyzing us in making the decision?
I'm sorry, you broke at how we make.
Sorry. How do we keep the fear of making the wrong decision or missing out paralyze us from making a decision?
Okay, so we forget that we make decisions every single day. You wake up and you make decision out of the habit. I'm gonna have a coffee or not, or I'm gonna buy coffee later. I'm gonna take this route. So this silly decisions, simple decisions that we take every single day, but we don't pay attention because it's a habit. It's nothing can happen if I turn here or there. But when it's about job, relationship, starting new business, it's like, oh, what if I fail? But what if we actually succeed? It's the way how we think. It's the way what story we start telling ourselves. And I'm gonna go back again to the past experiences. When I was quitting my bosses and job, I was scared, oh my God, to death, because I am immigrant who is gonna speak to me and learn from me. Maybe I'm not good enough, and good enough is the main reason when we avoid actually making decisions. I'm not good enough. I'm not qualified enough. I will lose money or won't make enough money. So all these stories. So when I work with my clients and with myself, I always go to the story. What do I really am afraid of? And when we are afraid of opinion of others, how do they really add to your life? These strangers that are on internet that you're gonna talk to, or through Zoom, or even your friends, how do they add to do they pay your bills? No. Do they pay for your clothes, like how do they add to your life? So life, and if they don't really accept keeping you small, then you have to change your friends and change the people that you're surrounded with. Usually it's about people, what they're gonna say about us, and the family members is the biggest change. And the skills also paralyzes us, that, oh my gosh, I want to be a speaker, but I don't know if I can speak. You can learn it. That the life is a skill. You have to learn business skills, life skills, and there is always something that you might, in your mind, you might say, oh, I can't. What if? In 2019, I spoke in India, and one of my topic was what ifs, how they steal our energy stealers, and how much energy you put into it. Look, this crazy thinking that puts you in a cage, that what if I can't? But what if I can? And I don't remember who said that, but either you think you can't or cannot. Even you think you can't or can, you are always right.
Yeah,
it's true. So it's just this inner talk that we have. It's the main block that keeps us from moving forward towards the decisions, and keeps us paralyzed.
cool. Now, you have hinted at this a couple of times, but a lot of it has to do with our perception of things, right? So how do we see it? How do we define it? What label do we put to it, right? Can you speak to us a little bit about how we work with perception?
How we work with perception? We have to invest in ourselves, educate ourselves, and really get to know the way our thinking works, and the stories. I'm gonna like, oh my gosh, she's like an alt type. Like, yes, I'm gonna repeat over and over. Get to know your stories, because most of these stories are not even yours. They are your parents, teachers, coaches at schools, and you just make them yours. So the perception is how, based on my past experience, again, I'm going to repeat it. If I had a bad experience in starting a job, or applying for a job, or starting a career, I'm going to question myself. Then go on the internet or look at people that you admire and their stories, how many times they started and how do they get there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Follow people that are ahead of you and look from the different angle. If they can, why I can't? What is the story that is keeping you there? The perception is about the mindset that we have. I'm sure you know that. Yep. What you focus on grows. So are you focusing on what can go wrong, or are you focusing on what can go right? Yeah. And all big, they have the same doubts, they have the same stories, but they decide to move on. The fear is there, yes, but they say, I can do it. And if there is another challenge ahead of me, I know that I can. I'm confident in me that I can overcome it. If not, I will ask for help. I will check with people that already been there, and they will show me the way.
Absolutely. And I think it's also a little bit this moving away from this idea that decisions are final, right? Decisions are a starting point.
I love it. No, thank you for saying that. Decision grows with us. Yeah, what worked for me 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even yesterday, might not work for me today or tomorrow. Yeah. And it's okay to change your mind. Absolutely. Just, I don't know if you agree, but always check with yourself. How does it serve me? How do I feel about that? Is it healthy or not healthy? And, go deep within. I'm always going to go within, because it's where our wisdom is.
Yeah, I love, like, Ed Milet. I don't know if you know who he is, but he says all the time, if it's legal, if it's not going to hurt anybody and it's an opportunity, just try it, go for it. And I love that approach, right? If it's not going to hurt anybody, it's legal and it can help you grow, then give it a shot. What have you got to lose?
But also, I'm sure you experience that too. Like you make a decision and something goes wrong, and you have a choice again. You have to make another decision. Do I move forward or I stay here? Of course, you move forward because it's your heart. It's you're a leader, and like what you do at this moment, you just look. What can I learn?
Yeah.
What do I have to quit on, and what I not repeat anymore, so it will move me actually forward. So you don't stop. I don't know who said that, but I also, yeah, I have challenge with remembering the names. But if you see the challenge, do you stop or do you go? Because growth is not stopping. Growth is moving forward. Besides, the challenges are there, accept the challenges are there, and then it's how we know. When we know better, we do better, right?
Absolutely. Now, you have mentioned being a leader several times. Can you give us your definition of what being a leader is and what that looks like?
Well, I always look at myself. I grew up behind the Iron Curtain and didn't experience a lot of great leadership. So I always experienced this forced and fear-driven leadership. And inside, I knew that there is something better. So in my opinion, a leader is someone who takes a responsibility for who she is and walk their talk. So it's not that I learn online or in the class or retreat something and I come and tell you how from now on how you're gonna do it. I walk my talk. First, I present my values and show you that you can do it too. And again, leader is not someone with the name of or position, not CEO. We are all leaders. We are all leaders. You, me, your neighbor, and it's just the way the perception, how you see yourself. And so leader is someone who takes ownership and responsibility for their life. And if you have someone who you actually lead as a leader in the corporation, you are also responsible for them by how you show up. A leader is someone who is not afraid to make decisions. Leader is someone who is not afraid to fail and learn and move forward. And we all do it. So just someone who is authentic, true to myself first, right? Because what we all want, we want someone who is real, not someone who pretends that position makes me a boss. So listen to me now. I experienced leaders like that. And I was like, no, it's not for me.
No, I understand. Completely 100% agree. Now, let's tap a little bit, and we're quickly running out of time, but let's tap a little bit into this idea of responsibility, right? Because most of the time when I mention responsibility in a group setting or when I'm speaking or whatever, someone will come up to me and be like, but you don't understand what I've been through. You don't understand my circumstances. And they fall into this victim mindset almost. How can someone who's been through hard things, and we understand that hard things happen, right? But
Right.
in your opinion, how can someone who's been through hard things still take on ownership and responsibility of their life moving forward?
Well, without knowing the exact story, I don't really, like, generally speaking, right? So generally speaking is always ask yourself questions. Again, questions are gold. Do I want to be a victim or do I want to be a victor of that story? Whatever, because every circumstance is some kind of story that we tell ourselves what happened. The perception, we feel hurt and we were fired, so they did it to me. So now do you respond or do you react? It's how I see it. A reaction is a victim mode, it's a protective mode. It's like, I'm a victim, everyone help me, save me. No, I'm sorry, this is not a good probably news, but no one is gonna save you. You are the only one who can save yourself by how you respond to the circumstances that are happening or happened. Because sometimes people leave the old story over and over and over, and I'm a victim because 20 years ago he left me, or 20 years ago, he fired or she fired me. Yeah. But look forward, what can I do with what I have at this moment? How can I grow with it? Where can maybe life, and for me, it's like, it's just how it is. When I have challenged and I, because even with my awareness today, sometimes I feel like I could be a victim, and then it's like, oh no, stop. What the life is trying to tell you. One of my coaches back in the time said, it's not about rejection, it's about redirection. Where life is redirecting you at the moment, what you try to not see, where you are trying to cover, you not see and cover your face so you don't have to see, because behind that, what we have to do, we have to make a decision, and it's tough. Yes, so victim or victor, and ask yourself that question, then make a decision. Where can I go from here? And I know that it's easier to say than done. That's why you have us. You have people that are mentors and coaches that are not inside of the story. They are the observers, and they can direct you and say, hey, look at this from that perspective. What do you think? And like, oh, I didn't think about that from this perspective.
Okay, so I always like to end our conversations with something actionable that people can start using today, like right now, as soon as they're done listening. So someone who's listening to you and says, okay, Beata, everything you said sounds wonderful and amazing, but here I am feeling stuck or unsure, or I don't know where to go. Where would you suggest they start in order to make a change and make those decisions in their lives?
Start where you are. Use what you have, and do not stop until you get there. And if you want to get there, you will find a way. You will find people who will direct you and help you. Just don't quit. Don't quit on yourself.
That's awesome. Now, any final thoughts that you would like to share with our audience, and also tell us where to find you?
Well, the final thoughts are that you're amazing, and you are so lucky having Marcy here and talking to you every Monday, right? Or
every Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah. Sorry, every Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Tuesday. Every Tuesday. So please don't only take on her knowledge and wisdom, but also implement it. Yeah. Nothing happens when you don't take action. So Absolutely. Take action, implement the knowledge. And where they can find me? Oh, you can find me on all social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter as well, and LinkedIn, because leadership, I'm all about leadership, so LinkedIn is my place. But also you can go beataspeaks.com, because I'm a speaker, and also beatalifecoaching.com. And in a couple weeks I will start, and it's all in making, but I will have a big announcement. So I'm gonna tease you a little bit. I'm preparing the mastermind for leaders all levels. If you are aspiring leader or someone who doesn't know how to lead yourself through challenges in life, stick with me, follow me, and you will find something awesome.
Awesome. So yeah, go ahead and find Beata in all social media, especially LinkedIn, and be on the lookout for that special announcement that's coming in a few weeks here. I will add all your social links and all that to the description. If you're watching on YouTube, it's on the description. If you're listening to the podcast, it is on the episode notes. So make sure you look for that and follow Beata so you don't miss out on the great announcement that's coming up. Beata, again, thank you so much for spending this time with us and for sharing all this value and insight.